What's it like to be a workaholic? Well, it's a lot of late nights and cups of coffee. You are always going, and your planner is normally pretty packed. But despite being glued to your work at all times and sometimes never catching a break, you love it. That's the tricky part. You're pursuing your passions and don't even realize that you haven't slowed down. You love the rush of creating something or figuring out a problem, even though it's midnight. Take it from me, Aka, the girl who's a workaholic herself. It's key to know a few things, especially if this sounds like you are one of these. Hi, I am Firdaus Mudassir and welcome to my channel Women and Childcare. And today we're discussing about, are you an alpha female or a workaholic? Although workaholism has been studied for nearly 45 years, today's digital world really adds a new dimension to the concept of work addiction. Technology like smartphones, laptops, and tablets provides opportunities to work from anywhere, anytime, and for some people that means working all the time. The ability to take work home blurs the line between work and leisure as many people feel compelled to continue working long past the official quitting hours. Often, there's an expectation that people will be available during evenings, weekends, and even vacations. So, when does your willingness to be constantly available cross the line into becoming a workaholic? Most researchers define a workaholic as a person who works excessively and compulsively and is unable to detach from work. But up until now, there hasn't been a definitive way to differentiate a hard worker from a workaholic. So, what is the work addiction scale? Norwegian researchers from the Department of Psychosocial Science at the University of Bergen identified specific symptoms that are characterized of workaholics. Researchers created a work addiction scale which uses the following 7 criteria to assess the likelihood that an individual possesses a work addiction. Number 1, you think of how you can free up more time just to work more. Number 2, you spend much more time in working than initially intended. Number 3, you work in order to reduce feeling of guilt, anxiety, helplessness, and or depression. Number 4, you have been told by others to cut down on work without listening to them. Number 5, you become stressed if you are prohibited from working. Number 6, you deprioritize hobbies, leisure activities, and exercise because of your work. And number 7, you work so much that it has negatively influenced your health. If you answered with often or always to any of these points above, you may be a workaholic. The study concluded that about 8.3% of Norwegian workforce is addicted to work. Other studies have suggested about 10% of the average population in other countries are workaholics. People identified as workaholics often ranked high in terms of these 3 personality traits. Number 1, agreeableness. Workaholics are more likely to be altruistic, compliant, and modest. Number 2, neuroticism. Workaholics tend to be nervous, hostile, and impulsive. And number 3, intellect and imagination. Workaholics are generally inventive and action-oriented. The study found that younger workers were most likely to be workaholics. Gender, education level, and marital status did not seem to play a greater role. Parents, however, were more likely to be affected compared to those without children. Women who are labeled workaholics generally fall into one of the 2 categories. First, you have all those women who are working terribly hard in their careers and doing more than their share at home. The second category is the classic work addict who immerses herself in demanding career just as workaholic men do, not necessarily from a neurotic compulsion to escape something, but because she loves her work. Women are natural work addicts. Since workaholics have a psychological need to overcompensate for the feelings of inferiority, and women are filled with insecurities. Also, they are less likely to delegate responsibility and more likely to do the drudge work themselves. Many women workaholics believe that they are happy absorbed in their work, and they are. But some overlook side effects of their addiction. Many women in the executive suite are falling into the male workaholic trap. They seem convinced of the old saying that a professional woman has to think like a man, act like a lady, and work like a dog. Job addiction can often change the course of a woman's life outside the office. It's more difficult for a workaholic woman to meet and sustain a relationship with an appropriate man. Those that do marry are among those most likely to postpone having children. A crucial variable for workaholics is control, and family doesn't fit schedules very neatly. Another reason why workaholic women tend to eschew marriage and children is the fear that love relationship will force her to give up her independence. There's a particular class of women now whose social, emotional, and sexual energy goes into the job. Like the stereotypical overachieving male who sees his family for the half day on Sunday, these women are avoiding intimacy too. But the effects of work addiction on a woman's life don't stop there. Children of workaholic parents tend either to be carbon copies or bums. The adverse effects of workaholism has on children often stems from the underlying insecurities that drive someone to work addiction rather than the work itself. But a mother's work addiction is not necessarily harmful. There are some women who work just as hard for a healthy reasons, the sense of achievement, involvement in the world, who don't convey a sense of anxiety. Their children are able to function quite well. Current studies of the effect of maternal employment on children confirms that a mother's morale and state of mind may be more important than her sheer presence in the home. If she's home full time and dissatisfied with that, it's not a happy situation for the child. Likewise, if she's working and unhappy about it, a child will pick up on her unhappiness. Employed mothers aren't absent mothers. Usually, they have a very high rate of interaction with their children when they are home. What they tend to lose out on is sleep time or leisure time. So that's it from me, folks, in today's video. I hope this video helps you analyze if you are a workaholic or an alpha female. If you have liked this video and the other videos on this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and also click the notification bell icon. You can also follow me on other social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. In case of any doubt, query, or inquiry, make sure you write to us on the email ID given in the description box. See you in the next video. Thank you so much.